The colony of Aurora 7 glimmered like a jewel under the pale light of its twin suns. Dusty orange plains stretched for miles, broken only by the shining domes of human settlements and the occasional stretch of glimmering water. The air, though, thin, carried a hint of metallic ozone, a reminder that this was still a young world shaped by human hands and ambition. Eli stood on the balcony of the small observatory that he had inherited from his father. His dark hair flared slightly in the artificial wind, and his eyes, sharp as ever, scanned the horizon. Aurora 7 had always been home, yet it had never been small to him. Every ridge, every crater, every glimmering field of minerals told a story, and Eli knew them all. But today his thoughts were not on the landscape or the colony. They were on a voice, a familiar, teasing voice that had followed him since childhood. "Mara," he said softly, though she was already beside him, her boots clicking lightly against the metal floor. She leaned against the railing, arms crossed, eyes bright. "You're quiet today," she said, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Something on your mind, Eli?" He chuckled, scratching the back of his neck. "Just thinking about old times." Mara's eyes lit up. "Old times? Don't tell me you're going to get sentimental on me." Eli smiled faintly. "Maybe a little. Remember that promise we made when we were kids?" Mara's smile widened, a mix of mischief and nostalgia. "Oh, that one. We'll marry each other someday, right? You promised?" Eli laughed, the sound echoing across the balcony. "I did. But come on, Mara. We were 10 years old. It doesn't exactly count." Mara leaned closer, her eyes teasing yet serious at the same time. "Does it not? I always thought it counted, I mean. If you really cared, maybe it still does." Eli blinked, surprised at the intensity in her voice. She had grown into a remarkable woman, confident, smart, and brave. Yet in moments like this, he remembered the child she had been, the one who had climbed every hill, run through every storm, and dared the impossible with him by her side. That same spirit lingered in her gaze now. "You really mean that?" he asked. "I do," she said simply. "No teasing, no jokes. Just honesty." Eli exhaled slowly, unsure of what to say. His thoughts drifted back to their childhood, to the days when they would race across the crystal plains, dodging robotic scavengers and exploring abandoned mining tunnels. Life on Aurora 7 had never been easy, but they had always found ways to laugh, to survive, and to dream. That promise had been a game back then, a way to comfort themselves against the uncertainty of life on a frontier planet. But now, hearing it again, it felt heavier. "Realer, you know," he said finally. "We survived a lot of crazy things together. I never thought we'd make it this far." Mara shrugged, a playful glint in her eyes. "Well, we did, and I think that says something, doesn't it?" "It does," he admitted. "It says we're unstoppable." "Exactly," she said. "Which is why I wanted to talk to you about the mission." Eli's smile faded slightly. "The mission?" She nodded. "There's been a distress signal from the Orpheus system. It's uncharted. Officially, the colony is sending the Starhawk team, but I want to go. I want to help." Eli frowned. The Orpheus system was known for its unpredictable anomalies. Some ships sent there never returned. "You can't just volunteer for something like this." "I can and I will," she said firmly. "I've been preparing for this my whole life. You know that?" He sighed, rubbing his temples. Mara had always been fearless, a trait that both awed and terrified him. He had seen her fix a ship's engine in the middle of a storm, navigate treacherous terrain with only a handheld scanner, and face rogue drones without flinching. She was brilliant, determined, and stubborn, qualities that made her an incredible engineer and a formidable friend. "And besides," she added, "you're not going alone. You'll need me." Eli shook his head with a small smile. "Fine, you can come. But if we die, you're taking full responsibility." Mara laughed. "Deal." They spent the next hour preparing. Eli checked the flight maps, plotted the safest route to the Orpheus system, and ran simulations for potential threats. Mara checked the ship's engines, navigational systems, and emergency protocols. Together, they worked like a single organism, their decades-long partnership evident in every glance and gesture. As they finished, Mara leaned against the control panel, smirking. You know, Eli, I've been thinking about that promise again. He groaned. Not this again. I'm serious, she said, eyes softening. We've survived everything together, storms, robots, sandquakes. If we can survive all that, maybe we can survive this. Eli looked at her, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with Aurora 7's twin sons. She was right. They had faced danger, uncertainty, and the vast unknown, and they had always come out stronger. Maybe it was time to admit something he had been avoiding for years. Maybe it does still count, he said finally. Mara's eyes sparkled with joy, and she reached out, squeezing his hand. Good, because I wasn't going to let you off that icily. They spent the rest of the day preparing supplies, checking equipment, and running drills. By nightfall, the observatory was quiet, save for the low hum of the colony's energy shields and the occasional chirp of distant machinery. Eli and Mara sat on the balcony again, looking up at the stars. Do you ever wonder what's out there? Mara asked quietly, pointing to a distant cluster of lights. All the time, Eli admitted. Sometimes I think about how small we are. But then I remember we've built this place. We've survived. We're not small at all. Mara nodded thoughtfully. I like that. Humans aren't small, not when we work together. Eli smiled, a genuine, unguarded smile. Yeah, not when we work together. They sat in companionable silence, watching the stars. Eli thought about the promise, the mission, and the future. There was uncertainty ahead, dangers beyond imagining. But one thing was clear. Whatever came, he and Mara would face it together. And maybe, just maybe, that childhood promise was more than a game? Aurora 7's twin moons rose in the sky, casting silver light over the plains. The colony slept peacefully, unaware of the adventure waiting beyond the stars. But Eli and Mara were ready. They had each other, a bond forged in childhood and tempered by the harshness of a frontier world. And that bond was unstoppable. As the night deepened, Mara leaned her head on Eli's shoulder. Promise me one more thing, she whispered. What's that we'll survive this, together? Eli tightened his arm around her, smiling softly. I promise. And under the glow of Aurora 7's twin moons, two friends, bound by childhood memories and unspoken feelings, prepared to step into the unknown. A promise made long ago would guide them, and human courage, ingenuity, and heart would carry them forward beyond the stars, beyond fear, and into adventure. The morning sun painted Aurora 7's plains with shades of gold and orange. The twin moons were gone now, hidden below the horizon, and the colony stirred to life. In the main hangar, the sleek silhouette of the Starhawk ship gleamed under the artificial lights. Its polished hull reflected the rising sun, symbol of human innovation and determination. Eli and Mara were already there, checking the ship's systems for the third time. The hum of the engines and the hiss of pressurized air filled the hangar as they prepared for departure. Eli ran his fingers along the control panel, eyes scanning every readout. Mara crouched beside the engine housing, inspecting the plasma conduits with meticulous care. You really are thorough, Eli said, glancing at her. If this ship goes wrong, it's going to be your fault. Mara rolled her eyes but smiled. And if it goes perfectly, it's thanks to me. Fair enough? Eli laughed. Deal, but I hope it goes perfectly. For a moment they worked in comfortable silence. The sound of the hangar, the mechanical hums, and the occasional clanging of tools was the only music they needed. They had prepared for countless missions together before, but this one was different. The distress signal from the Orpheus system was mysterious. Official records were minimal, and no one truly knew what awaited them. Yet Mara's determination was unwavering. Ready for launch? Eli asked, standing tall, running a final diagnostic on the cockpit systems. Ready? Mara replied, securing her harness. Her eyes shone with a mix of excitement and seriousness. The Starhawk's engines roared to life, vibrating beneath their feet as it lifted slowly from the hangar floor. Eli guided the ship out of the colony with steady hands, weaving past storage domes and research stations, then into the open plains. The wind whipped past the cockpit windows, but inside, the air was calm. As the colony shrank beneath them, Mara spoke softly. Do you ever think about what we're doing, Eli? About exploring unknown systems and facing dangers no one has ever seen? Eli glanced at her, a faint smile on his lips. Every day. And I think about how lucky I am to have you by my side. We're unstoppable when we work together. Mara laughed, but there was warmth in her voice. I like that. Makes me feel like we can do anything. The journey through the outer atmosphere was smooth. Soon, they reached the space corridor, a shimmering pathway through Aurora 7's orbit that led to interstellar space. Sensors activated automatically, scanning for obstacles and gravitational anomalies. Eli monitored the readings, his mind alert but calm. Mara worked alongside him, adjusting navigation vectors, double-checking fuel levels, and calibrating shields. Hours passed. The Starhawk glided gracefully through the vast black of space. Stars glittered like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky. And yet, despite the beauty, there was tension. The Orpheus system was uncharted. No human had mapped its planets, moons, or asteroid belts. The distress signal was faint but clear, a plea for help from someone, or something, in trouble. Finally, Mara broke the silence. We're close. Sensors are picking up something. Unusual. Eli leaned forward, narrowing his eyes at the display. What kind of unusual? Mara pointed at a cluster of readings. Energy spikes. Fluctuating gravitation. Some structures, I think. Artificial, maybe. Eli's pulse quickened. Artificial? In an uncharted system, that's not supposed to happen. Mara shrugged. Nothing about this mission is supposed to happen. But we're here, and we're going to figure it out. Their approach to the system was cautious. Stars gave way to swirling clouds of cosmic dust, painted in purples and blues. Among the clouds, strange structures emerged, enormous metallic formations that seemed to float without purpose, as if suspended by invisible hands. The distress signal grew stronger, emanating from a particular structure that resembled a station, but unlike any human design. Docking might be tricky, Eli said. These structures aren't stable. Leave the tricky stuff to me, Mara replied with a grin. She adjusted the docking clamps and recalibrated the stabilizers. Trust me, Eli. I've got this. With precision born of years of practice, Mara guided the Starhawk toward the station. Eli held his breath as the ship aligned with the docking bay, sensors screaming warnings at the slightest deviation. Finally, with a satisfying click, the clamps latched onto the structure, securing them in place. See, nothing to worry about, Mara said, beaming. Eli exhaled slowly. You're terrifyingly confident sometimes. Inside the station, the air was cold and metallic. Flickering lights illuminated hallways filled with unfamiliar technology. Screens glowed with strange symbols, and machinery hummed with quiet power. Every step echoed a reminder that they were intruders in an alien world. Mara led the way, her portable scanner sweeping the hallways for life signs. Signal is strongest this way, she said, pointing toward a large chamber at the center of the station. They entered cautiously. There, on a raised platform, was a small craft, damaged and sparking. The distress signal originated from inside. Eli and Mara exchanged a glance, then moved closer. Inside the craft, they found a lone humanoid figure, unconscious but alive. Its skin had a faint metallic sheen, and its eyes were closed. Clearly it was not human, yet there was something familiar about its form. Mara immediately knelt beside the figure, checking vital signs. It's alive, she said, relief flooding her voice. But barely. We need to get it back to the Starhawk. Eli nodded. Let's move carefully. We don't know what else is here. Together they lifted the figure onto the Starhawk, Eli carrying the bulk while Mara monitored the life support system. As they retreated to the ship, alarms suddenly blared. The station trembled, massive metal doors grinding shut. Lights flickered, and the hum of machinery grew chaotic. Something triggered. Eli shouted, "The station is collapsing." Mara gritted her teeth. Hang on, we can make it. She rushed to the controls, calculating escape trajectories while Eli maneuvered the ship. The Starhawk shook violently as debris fell around them. Sparks flew, and the engines roared at maximum power. Almost there. Mara yelled, her hands flying over the panels. Eli held the ship steady, dodging falling debris and sudden energy bursts. With a final surge, the Starhawk shot through the collapsing docking bay, emerging into open space just as the station crumbled behind them. They both exhaled, faces pale but relieved. The alien figure stirred, opening its eyes slowly. Its gaze was curious, cautious, and intelligent. Mara checked its vital signs stable. "You saved it," Eli said, glancing at Mara. "We did it." Mara smiled, a mix of exhaustion and triumph. "We make a good team." For a moment, silence settled over the ship. The stars stretched endlessly around them, and the Orpheus system seemed calm again, hiding the mysteries it held. Eli looked at Mara, a thought forming in his mind. They had faced danger, unknown systems, and possibly the edge of death. Yet they were alive, together, and somehow. That promise from their childhood echoed in his heart. "Stronger than ever," Eli Mara said softly, breaking his thoughts. "Do you think? Maybe we should tell someone about what we just saw." He shook his head. "Not yet. Some things need to be understood first. We need answers before anyone else comes here." Mara nodded, respect and admiration in her eyes. "You're right. We always figure things out first." They spent the next few hours analyzing the alien craft and the station's remnants. Every reading, every energy signature told them that this was just the beginning. The Orpheus system held secrets, and humans, resourceful, courageous, and adaptable humans would have to uncover them as night fell on Aurora 7 below. Eli and Mara sat together in the cockpit, watching distant stars. "You know," Mara said, her voice thoughtful, "I think we've only scratched the surface of what humans can do out here." Elise smiled. "We've done more than scratch. We've survived, explored, and maybe even made new friends." "Achu." Mara laughed quietly. "New friends, huh? The metallic kind?" "Why not?" Eli replied. "If humans can survive here, we can survive anything." For a moment, they sat in comfortable silence, letting the hum of the Starhawk remind them of human ingenuity, determination, and courage. The Orpheus system awaited, full of mystery, danger, and adventure, and they were ready. Together, Eli glanced at Mara and smiled. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it. Just like always." "Just like always," she echoed. And with that, the Starhawk shot deeper into the uncharted system, carrying 2 humans, a mysterious alien, and a promise that had lasted far longer than anyone could have imagined. The Starhawk glided silently through the Orpheus system, carrying Eli, Mara, and the mysterious alien. The ship's lights reflected softly on Mara's face as she monitored the alien's vitals. Despite its strange metallic skin and glowing eyes, the being seemed peaceful, though alert. Every small movement was careful, almost as if it were studying them as much as they were studying it. Eli adjusted the course, keeping the ship steady amid the swirling energy anomalies. "The sensors are picking up more fluctuations ahead," he said, his brow furrowed. "Gravity spikes, radiation bursts, and some kind of energy signatures. Not natural." Mara looked at the displays, her fingers moving over the touchscreens. Could be alien technology, or defense systems. "Whoever built this station, they didn't want visitors," Eli sighed.
"Figures."
Nothing is ever simple in uncharted space. The Starhawk sensors suddenly blared. Bright pulses of light danced across the displays, each one signaling a massive energy surge. The alien stirred, its glowing eyes focusing on the readings. Mara leaned closer, curiosity mixed with caution. "It's reacting," she murmured. "It knows what this is." The energy pulses grew stronger, and suddenly a massive object appeared on the sensors. A colossal shipwreck, perhaps. A floating fortress loomed ahead. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, and strange geometric patterns moved across it, as if the structure itself were alive. Eli swallowed. "That's huge, and very unfriendly looking." Mara's jaw tightened. We need to be careful. Let's not rush in. But the Starhawk's controls began to shudder. Without warning, a powerful magnetic field gripped the ship, pulling it toward the fortress. Lights flickered, alarms blared, and the engines struggled against the force. "Hold on," Eli shouted, gripping the controls. "I'm trying to fight it, but this thing is strong." Mara worked frantically at the navigation panel. "I can stabilize the shields. Maybe? But we'll need to maneuver carefully." The alien leaned forward, placing a hand on one of the screens. Energy rippled from its fingers, interacting with the readings. The magnetic pull weakened slightly. Mara stared in awe. "It's helping. It understands the system." Eli nodded, following the alien's subtle guidance. "Okay, trust it. We have no choice." Together, the three of them fought against the fortress's gravitational grip. The Starhawk groaned, metal straining under the pressure. Debris floated past the cockpit window, twisted fragments of unknown machines and structures. Every second felt like an eternity, but slowly they broke free from the pull. Spiraling out of immediate danger, breathing heavily, Eli leaned back. That was to close. Mara wiped sweat from her brow. Way too close. But we made it. The alien floated toward the center of the cockpit, its eyes glowing brighter. It communicated in a series of soft chimes and vibrations, which Mara quickly realized were patterns rather than words. "It's trying to tell us something," she said. "It knows this system. Maybe. It's not just a victim. Maybe it belongs here." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Belongs here? You mean it's from this system?" Mara nodded slowly. "Could be. That might explain why it knew how to help us escape." The Starhawk moved cautiously through the system, the massive fortress shrinking behind them. Sensors detected smaller ships emerging from the shadows, fast, sleek, and aggressive. They circled the Starhawk, sending pulses of energy that disrupted shields and interfered with navigation. Eli's hands flew over the controls. "We need to defend ourselves. Shields up. Power to engines." Mara activated the ship's defensive systems. Turrets hummed, scanning for targets, while the energy shields shimmered in protective arcs. The alien's eyes glowed again, and this time, a subtle energy wave pulsed from its body. The attacking ships wavered, their movements becoming erratic. "Look at that," Mara exclaimed. "It's affecting them. Some kind of energy interference." Eli smiled grimly. "All right then. Let's follow its lead. We'll fight smart, not just hard." The battle continued. Small alien ships swarming around the Starhawk, firing pulses of light and energy. Eli maneuvered with precision, dodging attacks while Mara coordinated the defenses. The alien pulsed energy waves periodically, confusing the attackers and creating openings. Every time they dodged, every time they countered, Eli and Mara's trust in each other grew stronger. "This is insane," Eli muttered, narrowly avoiding a laser pulse. "Why would anyone design something this aggressive?" Mara gritted her teeth. "We don't know. But humans can handle insane. Remember Aurora 7? This is just bigger." Eli chuckled despite the tension. "You make it sound easy." "It is," she said, her eyes gleaming with determination. "If we work together, nothing can stop us." Hours seemed to pass in a blur of dodges, pulses, and calculated maneuvers. The Starhawk's shields dimmed slightly, warning lights flickering. They were exhausting every resource. And yet the alien remained calm, guiding them with subtle signals, almost as if it had anticipated every move. Finally, a pattern emerged. The attacking ships began to retreat, forming a circle around the fortress. The alien pulsed energy again, this time sending a strong wave directly at the fortress. The massive structure trembled, its shimmering surface breaking in sections as if weakened. Mara gasped. "It's breaking through. We're forcing it to retreat." Eli nodded, heart racing. "We can't stop now. Keep pushing." With one final coordinated maneuver, the Starhawk fired a concentrated energy pulse at the fortress, assisted by the alien's interference. The massive ship shuddered, then slowly began to pull back, disappearing into the depths of the system. The cockpit fell silent. Only the hum of the Starhawk's engines remained. Eli leaned back, wiping sweat from his brow. We did it. We actually did it. Mara slumped in her seat, breathing heavily. I can't believe that just happened. We survived. And we actually forced them back. The alien floated silently, its eyes glowing softly. It looked at them, then made a gentle gesture, a bow perhaps, or a sign of gratitude. Mara smiled. I think. It's thanking us, Eli nodded, feeling a strange warmth in his chest. They had survived the unknown, faced a threat beyond comprehension, and prevailed. It was a reminder of something he had always believed. Humans could endure, adapt, and overcome even against impossible odds. As they set a course back toward the uncharted station, Mara looked at Eli. You know, I think humans are pretty amazing, Eli smiled. Yeah, and together. We're unstoppable, she laughed softly. You really like that line, don't you? I mean it, he said seriously. With you, I believe it. For the rest of the journey back, they worked quietly, analyzing data, repairing minor damage, and preparing for the next steps. The alien remained calm, floating in the center of the cockpit, occasionally pulsing energy waves and subtle gestures that seemed almost playful. As the Starhawk approached the station, Eli reflected on the day's events. They had faced incredible danger, unknown technology, and mysterious forces, but they had done it together. Mara's brilliance, courage, and determination had been as vital as his own skills. And the alien. Whatever it was, it had proven that intelligence and understanding could transcend species. The Orpheus system held secrets. But Eli and Mara were ready. They had survived the unknown, and they would survive whatever came next. And somewhere in the back of his mind, the childhood promise Mara had reminded him of seemed less like a joke and more like a guiding star, a reminder of human strength, resilience, and heart. Mara leaned back in her seat, exhaustion evident, but a satisfied smile on her face. Eli, do you ever think about what humans are capable of? All the time, he said, gazing at the stars outside. Every day we surprise ourselves. And today, we proved it again. The alien floated closer to the cockpit window, looking at the distant stars with a quiet intensity. It was a being of another world, yet somehow it had become a partner, a guide, and a witness to human ingenuity. Eli felt a surge of pride not just for himself, but for Mara, for humanity, for the courage that had carried them through the unknown. The Starhawk glided silently, a small human vessel in a vast, mysterious system. But inside, the crew, human and alien, held the heart of exploration, courage, and hope. And as long as they did, no threat, no mystery. No unknown force could truly stop them. Eli looked at Mara again, a smile playing on his lips. Whatever happens next, we face it together. That promise, it counts. Mara's eyes softened and she reached for his hand. It always counts, Eli, always. And with that, the Starhawk moved deeper into the Orpheus system, carrying its crew into the mysteries and challenges that awaited, confident in human courage, resilience, and heart. The Starhawk drifted slowly through the remnants of the destroyed alien fortress. The silence inside the ship was profound, broken only by the soft hum of the engines and the occasional beep of Mara's scanner. The alien floated near the center of the cockpit, its glowing eyes scanning every display, every readout. There was a calm intelligence in its movements, as if it understood the universe in ways humans could barely imagine. Eli leaned back in his seat, rubbing his temples. I still can't believe we survived that, he said quietly. That fortress, and the smaller ships, they weren't playing around. Mara chuckled softly, though fatigue was evident on her face. I know, but we did survive. And we didn't just survive, we outsmarted them. Eli smiled faintly. Yeah, together, like always. The alien's eyes brightened, and it made a series of soft chimes. Mara leaned forward, listening intently. It's communicating, she said slowly. Not with words, but patterns. I think it's trying to tell us something. Eli frowned. Tell us what? Mara adjusted the scanner to interpret the alien signals. Slowly, a map began to appear on the holographic display. It showed the Starhawk's current location, the fortress they had escaped, and an entire network of structures in the Orpheus system. But unlike the fortress, these structures seemed orderly, almost harmonious. Energy lines connected them, pulsing like veins. "It's a network," Mara whispered. "These aren't just random stations. They're connected, almost like a civilization." Eli's eyes widened. "A civilization? Out here? And that fortress? It was just one part?" Mara nodded. "I think so. And look at these readings." She pointed to a section of the map. "The energy flows here are stable, almost welcoming. But the fortress we faced, it was defensive, protective. It's the alien pulsed energy, a rhythmic wave that resonated through the cockpit." Mara interpreted it carefully. "It's saying the fortress wasn't attacking without reason. Something threatened this system. They were defending themselves and maybe testing us." Eli's brow furrowed. "Testing us?" "Yes," Mara said. "We proved we could think, adapt, survive. The system, it recognizes intelligence. And maybe it needed to see if humans are worthy." The Starhawk drifted closer to one of the more stable structures. It was massive but elegant, its surface shimmering like polished silver. Energy flowed along intricate patterns, and the aliens' glow pulsed faster as they approached. Eli swallowed. "This is incredible. We're the first humans to see this." Ra's eyes sparkled. "And maybe we're here for a reason. That alien, maybe it's guiding us. Maybe it wants us to help protect this system." The alien floated closer to the control panel, extending a hand. Energy rippled from its fingers, interacting with the Starhawk's systems. Mara gasped. "It's interfacing with our ship. It can manipulate technology." Eli nodded, eyes wide. "That explains how it helped us in the battle. It's brilliant." The Starhawk moved into a docking bay within the massive structure. The interior was breathtaking tall columns of flowing energy, transparent floors revealing pulsing conduits beneath, and walls that shimmered with shifting colors. It was alive not in the sense of flesh, but as a complex, intelligent system. Every pulse of light seemed to respond to the presence of the ship and its crew. Mara stepped forward, awe in her eyes. "This is more than a station. It's a living library, a hub of knowledge and energy." Eli nodded slowly, feeling the weight of the discovery. And the fortress. It wasn't hostile. It was just defensive. Protecting this knowledge, the alien floated ahead of them, moving toward a large central chamber. Symbols lit up on the walls, forming patterns that Mara quickly recognized as an advanced form of communication. Slowly, she began translating. "It's welcoming us," Mara said. "It's saying humans are capable, that we can learn, understand, and maybe help." Eli's heart pounded. Learn and help. With what? Mara pointed at the display. "It's showing the energy network. The system maintains balance. Life here depends on these energy flows. If they're disrupted, entire worlds could collapse. Maybe that fortress tried to protect the system because something threatened the balance." The alien pulsed again, guiding them to a central console. Mara reached out, letting her fingers hover over the interface. The alien's energy flowed into the console, activating it. Lights danced across the room, revealing maps, data streams, and records of countless events in the system. "It's history and technology," Mara whispered. "All preserved here, and it wants us to see it. Understand it. Maybe even protect it." Eli nodded slowly, feeling a sense of awe and responsibility. "We're not just explorers anymore. We're guardians. Protectors. This system. This knowledge. Humans have to help preserve it." Mara smiled faintly, exhaustion mixed with excitement. "We faced danger, survived the unknown, and now we're part of something bigger. Something truly extraordinary." The alien pulsed energy once more, and a holographic figure appeared. It was humanoid in shape, shimmering like liquid light, its movements graceful and deliberate. It addressed them in a series of resonating tones. Mara translated slowly. Humans of Aurora 7. You have proven intelligence, courage, and adaptability. You have faced the unknown and endured. You are worthy of knowledge and trust. This system, this network, depends on balance. You may choose to aid or observe. Your choice will shape your future and ours. Eli's eyes widened. Aid or observe? That's enormous. Mara nodded, determination in her eyes. We can't just observe. We've survived, proven ourselves. We can help. The alien pulsed rapidly, almost as if approving her decision. Mara's fingers traced the holographic map. There's so much to learn. Energy flows, systems, alien structures. We can understand it. We can protect it. And humans, we can adapt. Eli took a deep breath. We've faced storms, robots, collapsing stations, and now this. But together, we can handle it. We always do. The aliens' glow intensified, a soft wave of energy washing over them. Eli felt a strange warmth, a connection not just with the alien, but with the system itself. It was as if the Starhawk, the crew, and the Orpheus system were all linked. Each pulse of energy, a heartbeat. Each movement, a rhythm of life. Mara leaned closer to Eli. You know, the promise from our childhood. It feels like it matters here. Not just us. But humans, together, facing the unknown. That promise. It guided us to this moment.
Ow.
Eli smiled softly. Maybe, and maybe we'll need that courage, that bond, to face what comes next. This system, it's beautiful, but it's also fragile. And humans can make a difference. For hours, they explored the structure, learning its systems, understanding the energy flows, and slowly building a connection with the alien. It shared knowledge of the system, teaching them how to stabilize energy conduits, redirect flows, and even communicate with other stations in the network. Eli and Mara were amazed at human adaptability, learning quickly, improvising when needed, and applying logic and creativity to problems that seemed beyond comprehension by the time they rested. A bond had formed not just with the alien, but with the system itself. It was a partnership, a mutual trust built on courage, intelligence, and heart. Eli looked out at the stars, feeling a deep sense of purpose. We're part of something bigger now. Humans. We're capable of incredible things. Mara smiled, leaning against him. And we'll face it together, just like always. The alien pulsed softly, a rhythm that matched their hearts, a reminder that in the vast universe, courage, intelligence, and connection could bridge worlds. And humans, with all their flaws and brilliance, were ready to take their place, not just as survivors, but as guardians of knowledge, balance, and hope. The Orpheus system waited, full of mysteries, challenges, and opportunities. And Eli and Mara, bound by childhood promises, friendship, and now a shared mission, were ready. Together, humans could face the unknown, protect life, and reach heights that no one could imagine. And in that moment, the promise from years ago felt less like a childhood game and more like a guiding star, lighting the path forward through the stars. The Starhawk floated gently in the heart of the Orpheus system, its hull reflecting the shimmer of the vast alien structures surrounding it. The hum of the engines blended with the subtle energy pulses of the system itself, creating a rhythm that felt alive. Eli and Mara sat side by side in the cockpit, exhausted but exhilarated. The alien hovered nearby, its glow dimmed slightly, almost in a gesture of calm satisfaction. Eli leaned back in his seat, fingers tapping the console absent-mindedly. I still can't believe we're here, he said quietly. The things we've seen, the things we've survived, it's unreal. Mara glanced at him, a soft smile on her face. Unreal, yes, but real enough that we're alive and part of it now. Humans. We belong here, Eli. He met her gaze, heart pounding. You're right. We've come a long way from Aurora 7. From our childhood games. From that silly promise we made. Mara laughed softly, though it held a note of seriousness. Silly, maybe? But promises aren't always about age. They're about trust, about knowing someone will be there. That promise. It guided us to this moment. Eli's smile softened. It did, didn't it? And somehow, it feels more important now than it ever did back then. The alien pulsed gently, and the holographic displays around the cockpit lit up with data. Mara leaned forward, reading the patterns. It's showing us new stations, energy conduits, systems we can stabilize. The network. It trusts us to help. Eli nodded slowly. Then we do it together, whatever it takes. Mara reached for his hand, a silent acknowledgement of the bond they shared. Together, she echoed. The next hours were filled with intense work. The Starhawk navigated from station to station, guided by the alien. Mara adjusted energy flows, rerouted power to stabilize unstable stations, and interpreted alien data streams. Eli piloted with precision, dodging debris fields, avoiding gravitational anomalies, and supporting Mara with quick calculations and on-the-spot problem-solving. Every challenge they faced tested their skills, patience, and ingenuity. At one station, a conduit overloaded, sending arcs of energy across the platform. Mara reacted instantly, rerouting power with expert precision, while Eli held the Starhawk steady above the station. Sparks flew, alarms blared, but human resourcefulness won out. The conduit stabilized, glowing with a steady, warm light. We did it, Mara whispered, leaning back, wiping sweat from her brow. Another station saved. Eli smiled, pride in his eyes. Humans. We really are unstoppable when we work together. Hours passed like minutes. The alien guided them, occasionally pulsing energy to show subtle adjustments or warn of hazards. Through it all, Eli and Mara grew more confident, more attuned to the rhythms of the system. They learned quickly, adapting human ingenuity to the alien network. Every station stabilized, every energy flow corrected, strengthened not just the system, but their belief in what humans could accomplish. Finally, after what felt like days compressed into hours, the Starhawk approached the central hub of the system, a massive crystalline structure that shimmered like liquid light. It was the heart of the Orpheus system, the core that controlled energy flows to every station and world. Eli gazed at it, awestruck. This is incredible. All of it maintained perfectly, and we get to be a part of it. Mara smiled softly. Part of it? Because we proved we could handle it. Humans have courage, intelligence, and heart. That's what counts. The alien pulsed a warm wave of energy, guiding them closer. Mara reached out, letting her hands hover over the console at the core. Energy rippled beneath her fingertips, alive and responsive. Eli leaned closer, studying the readings. This is more than technology, he whispered. It's almost alive. Mara nodded. It is alive, and it trusts us. We've earned that trust. For a moment, they worked silently, their focus absolute. The Starhawk's systems interfaced seamlessly with the alien network, energy flowing smoothly as they stabilized the final conduits. Lights pulsed in patterns, a symphony of life and energy that reflected the harmony of the system. Eli finally leaned back, a sigh of relief escaping him. We did it. Every station, every conduit. Stable. Mara glanced at him, her eyes shining. We did it together, Eli, just like always. The alien pulsed energy in a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Eli realized it was a gesture of thanks, or perhaps acknowledgement. They had survived, adapted, and contributed to something far beyond themselves. Humans, Mara said softly, looking at Eli. We really can do incredible things together, and not just for ourselves. For others, for the system, for life. Eli smiled faintly, a warmth in his chest he hadn't felt before. And it all started with a promise. A promise we made when we were kids. I think it led us here. Mara squeezed his hand gently. Good. And it always counts, Eli. Always. As they watched the lights of the central hub shimmer and pulse, a sense of peace settled over them. The Orpheus system was stable, alive, and thriving, thanks in part to human courage and ingenuity. But more importantly, Eli and Mara had realized the depth of their bond, the promise, the friendship, and the love that had guided them through danger, the unknown. In the vast expanse of space, the Starhawk remained docked at the hub as the alien pulsed energy in a gentle rhythm. Mara looked out at the glowing structures, her thoughts wandering. I never imagined humans could be part of something like this, but here we are, and we belong. Eli stood beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. We always have, and together, we'll keep going. Exploring, learning, protecting what matters. Mara turned to him, her expression soft and serious. Eli, about that promise. He smiled, understanding immediately. I know it still counts. It always has. Her lips curved into a gentle smile, and she nodded. Good, because I wasn't going to let you forget it. They laughed softly, the tension and uncertainty of the past days melting away. For the first time, they allowed themselves to feel not just relief, but joy, a joy born from survival, achievement, and a bond that had endured trials beyond imagination. The alien pulsed once more, and a holographic projection appeared in the center of the hub. It displayed the entire Orpheus system, every station, every energy conduit, and every world dependent on the network. Mara and Eli studied it, amazed at the complexity and beauty of it all. It's magnificent, Mara whispered. Eli nodded. And it's ours to help protect. Humans can do this. We've proven it. For the next few days, they remained at the hub, learning from the alien and familiarizing themselves with the system. Each day brought new challenges, new knowledge, and new appreciation for human ingenuity and perseverance. They realized that courage, intelligence, and teamwork could overcome even the most alien and complex systems. Finally, as they prepared to return to Aurora 7, the alien pulsed warmly, guiding the Starhawk back to open space. Mara and Eli stood together in the cockpit, looking at the stars beyond the hub. You ready? Eli asked, turning to her. Mara smiled, her hand finding his. Ready? Together. Eli returned the smile, squeezing her hand gently. Together, the Starhawk lifted from the hub, gliding smoothly into the starlit expanse. Behind them, the Orpheus system pulsed gently, alive and thriving, a testament to human courage, ingenuity, and heart. Eli looked at Mara, a thought forming in his mind. You know, that promise we made as kids, it led us here, to this moment, and it's not over. Not ever. Mara leaned closer, resting her head against his shoulder. I know, and I'm glad. Because whatever comes next, we'll face it together. Eli smiled softly, eyes reflecting the stars. Always together. And as the Starhawk disappeared into the depths of space, carrying its crew toward new adventures, new discoveries, and new challenges, Eli and Mara knew one thing with absolute certainty: human courage. Heart and determination could reach beyond the stars. And with promises kept, bonds forged, and hearts united, humans were truly unstoppable. The Orpheus system shimmered behind them, a reminder of the unknown, the incredible, and the endless possibilities ahead. And for the first time, Eli and Mara allowed themselves to imagine a future not just of survival, but of hope, wonder, and infinite adventure together.